All right. How you getting on? You well? You good? You all right? Hey, listen. Live. Right. Do you know what? I need to tell you something. I'm going to take a break from the podcast because I want to make it better. And I'll give you a bit of background into why I'm thinking about this. Spoiler alert, it involves getting too high and having a bit of an ego death the other day. No, I'll explain. Firstly, I love you so much, particularly you, my beloved listener of this podcast, and you in person, you specifically. I love you. Thank you very much for listening to this. Okay, let me explain. Right, the other day, the kids went down to bed early, and Terry went to bed early. She was tired, and I sat there. It was like 9, and I was like, "Oh my god, I got the evening to myself here. What am I going to do?" Right? Booted up the dodgy box. Right? Saw Alien Romulus was on there in 4K. I'm like, let's 4K and go. Played a few matches at WWE 2K24 with Jordan. Told him, beat him 3 times. Told him about to watch Alien Romulus. He's like, oh, you should smoke a bit of weed for that. And I'm like, ooh, I will. Then I couldn't find my vape, as you know, I'm somewhat of a microdoser, but I thought, I'm just going to roll a bifter, right? I've been smoking some bifters there when I was at a stag recently. And you know what? I actually found I wasn't too high. Now, the context is everything. Do you know what I mean? The context of a situation. I find a lot of time when you're in an altered state, whether it's just a couple of pints, a little bit high, whatever it is, the setting is really the biggest, it's the biggest factor in how altered you feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you ever had a pint on your lunch break and then you go back to work and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, that kind of vibe? Your manager comes in, it's kind of like, here, you're still all right to kind of say a few words about that thing at 2, are you? And you're like, are we fighting? Are you all right with me, actually? Are we all right? You know, that kind of vibe? So similarly, smoking bifters at a stag is also fine. I mean, how are you too high? What is required of you in this too high moment? Is it painting your face and laughing at a Joker playing card for literally 1 whole hour? Like, literally one. There was a deck of cards and there was a really funny looking, Harlequin looking Joker. Me and Jordan just laughing our asses off for hours, just passing the card back and forth, being, my card, here. If you need me, you know where to find me. That's my card. And then passing it across the table to each other. We weren't expecting it, being, I think you will find my offer most reasonable. And my mate Joe just kept handing us the card, being like, look, I am going to invite you. There's a really fun event happening down. Me and a couple of the lads are heading down to the beach. This guy is going to be there. All right, look, he's going to be there. It's not a religious thing. We just kept laughing our asses off at just this Joker playing card, right? So yeah, being too high for that is totally fine. Do you know what I mean? But when you're, but then then I would go out to the back garden and smoke a bit of a bifter and made the rookie mistake of being, I'm not feeling that enough. I'm going to have a couple more. What's going on? Why are you so silly? Why are you so silly? What am I? A 14-year-old boy? I'm expecting just to have one toke and be like, hee, that's plenty. I feel it right now. So I had like smoked too much, and then I went back into the house, sat down, started firing up Alien Romulus, and then I didn't know whether it was the looming dread of the alien, the xenomorph, or if I hate myself. If I hate myself and I'm having a panic attack. Do you know what I mean? But it was something going on. And this very loud, I wouldn't even call him Gary because he was a bit more mystical, more like a Gandalf, kind of a Garindalf, Garindalf the Whitey started talking to me. And started kind of listening to everything that I don't like about myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing positive whatsoever, and I'm like, oh, here, that's fairly full on. But what's annoying is he was making a couple of good points, this clown, was trying to ignore him, was trying to ignore the voice, started trying to clean the house, started folding up dirty clothes that were in the wash basket and putting them away, clearing the that drawer that has just all the shit in it in your kitchen. Started trying to organize that, which is the stupidest thing to do when you're worried about waking anyone up because it's all just metal clinking against each other. And I'm like, like fucking banging a can opener against like a peeler. Do you know what I mean? Just not being able to figure it out. A load of loose batteries in there. So eventually, when I'd done everything I could possibly do to clean the house, I tried to reupholster the couch with 2 throws that I found in the wash, and I thought this is the best idea ever. Anyway, when I'd run out of things to do, when Alexander had run out of worlds to conquer, I wept. I didn't actually weep, but I did sit down with a notepad and start kind of writing a big list of things that I don't like. And one thing that the Gary and Dolph was saying, which I agree with, was, now he didn't give me the courtesy of giving me the good things that I've done this year. Do you know what I mean? Didn't give me the courtesy of like having the tour and, you know, the podcast with the lads and the Good Boy and now Doodle Girl that's out this week, the animated show on the Player. You know, didn't really give me the courtesy of that, but he was kind of saying, look, you're not really happy with the podcast. You're not really happy with what the podcast is, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I know. Kind of been ignoring that, to be honest. Kind of been just expecting that when I have a bit more free time, I'll invest more into it. Because this podcast, I love this podcast. I never want to stop doing this podcast. I started this podcast Christmas before COVID because I really had something I wanted to talk about. I really had to talk about how much I hated the new Star Wars trailer. And then the next week, I really had to talk about the Late Late Toy Show. And then I just found a momentum and I had more stuff to talk about. And then COVID hit and I had fuck all else to do. And I launched the bonus podcast. And then it was just like, I have so much. This is my full-time job, is just to live, to think, and to talk to you. And how I made the podcast back then was a little bit different. I would spend the morning writing down everything I could think of to talk about. And I would curate that list. And then I would kind of write it out as what you know, pretty much writing stand-up for every podcast, and then decide what I wanted to leave in and what I wanted to cut out and curate it a little bit. And then when I launched the Patreon, I was looking at just showing different sides of me and mixing it in with most fuckable Disney animals and Eurovision things and all that, and just kind of talking at length about things that I was passionate about. And then things got busy, and then I was like, do you know what? I'm still not going to stop the podcast. I'll make sure I still do it. But kind of in the last 2 years, maybe even 2.5 years, the podcast isn't really something that I'm particularly proud of. I don't promote it. I'm not really like pulling clips from it. I don't really revisit it like I used to do. I used to go back. I used to listen to my own podcast. I would listen to it. I would put it out and I would listen to it and I would laugh because I'm an absolute egomaniac. No, but I would listen to it and then I would think, is there bits for stand-up and that? But with this, I'm just putting it out and I'm kind of a bit, that's fine. I'm putting it out 90% out of obligation to the people who expect it. And the 10% is the crippling fear that if I stop, I'll never revisit it again, because I've never been more consistent with anything than this podcast. And I'm incredibly indebted to you as a listener for forcing me to do something like this. It's changed every part of how I work because I have seen that I can do something. You know, I've done like over 500 episodes of this podcast, which if it was a weekly podcast would be 10 years of this podcast, you know? But I've done like 500 episodes, and then with the Young Hot Guys and that, you know, it's now I'm doing 4 podcasts a week with even less time to actually live. I'm just not happy with the quality of this podcast. I mean, it's fine. I mean, they're pretty good, essentially voice notes. They're pretty good, like journal entry voice notes. And I know that for some people who do like that, they get it. But I think we could all benefit. You, my beloved listener, and then anyone who maybe would like to listen to this, who doesn't know about this, who I would like each of these podcasts to be my best foot forward for me to really be like showcasing something, you know? And even though I was kind of disagreeing with Gary and Dolph the Whitey in my head, then I kept thinking to myself, yeah, but what if I was really excited though? Like how would this podcast look if I was really excited? And I don't know what format that is. I don't know what the topics are. I don't know if it's video. I don't know if it's audio. But I know what I like doing with this podcast, and I know when it's good, you know. So yeah, what would it be like? And what would it be like to take a break and then get really excited about it, and then maybe even get nervous, and then to get that feeling again of like, oh, I haven't done this in a while, I don't even know if I can, and then to get that realization, oh, I can do this, and it's actually better than it was, and just give it that injection again, in whatever format it takes. And then maybe what will happen is I'll take a break, and then I'll come back, and then I'll have 2 months of consistency and really happy with it, and then, I might fall off again. This is what happens. This is life. Do you know what I mean? That's just life. But I think I need to take a break. I think I need to take a break. And I haven't said this to anyone. I haven't said this to like the head stuff or the lads. I'm certainly not stopping the Young Hot Guys podcast. It's just you end up using a different muscle. To talk from alone by yourself requires a lot more. I get to buzz off the other two, so that's not going anywhere. But I think I'm going to take a break till at least the new year with this podcast. But it's not like I'm going invisible. What I hope to do is to talk a bit more on Instagram and kind of short form, and then kind of figure out exactly what it is that I could do to be really excited about talking long form on this podcast. Not half an hour, 25 minutes, but like, a good 40 minutes talking about this is exactly what we're talking about today. And I cannot wait for you to hear about it, So that's what I'm going to do. And, thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I do very much appreciate you. Keep me in your, hang on to the RSS feed. It's not going anywhere. It'll pop up. And I'm not disappearing anywhere. But I need to think outside of this podcast on how to make it better. I need to just take a bit of a break and, don't smoke weed. No, it was a long time coming. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need a bit of an outside perspective. Because I don't have the headspace or the wherewithal now to figure it out incrementally. I have to stop it and then come back. So I hope I'll be back soon. I might even do a little podcast on the toy show when I watch it. Who knows? I'm not entirely sure. And when I do start it again, I'm hoping, it will be a routine thing again. But I just need to figure it out. So listen, I'm so grateful and thank you so much for your kind, continued support of this podcast. But I'm going to take a bit of a break. Because I'm not one of those podcasts that says, we're having a season, then we're having a little break, right? Maybe that is a format I should do. But no, I like to be consistent. I like to be consistent, dip in quality, freak out and get too high. and then be like, I'll be back in a while, right? When I figure my shit out. That's a lot better. And that's certainly the better thing to present publicly than to, plan your breaks. Anyway, look, thank you very much for listening to this pod. I love you dearly. I'm not gone. Hit me up at Tony Horror on Instagram. I'm always there. Just chat to me. And hopefully I'll be putting out more videos and bits there. Do you know what I mean? This podcast has become the kind of all-encompassing bucket for my thoughts. And it's not been efficient. It's not been an efficient use of that. So anyway, I'm shouting on. I love you so much. All the best. Bye-bye.